Ding.
The gentle intro to the Top 40 Timeline video show. I'm Big Daddy, and I'm here with two lovely ladies. Leah Lywood, say hello.
Hey!
And Amanda Bassett.
Hi.
Here we are. We're going to have the rock and roll show again, talking about rock and roll stories from this week in history and other stuff as well that Leah Lywood puts together on our social media, on Facebook, of course. And you post in all the radio stuff, don't you?
On each of our radio stations, yeah.
Yep.
On the FM 108 and GTA have Facebook groups if you want to check out what we do.
These biographies that I'm doing now, I've changed up a little bit. It was kind of getting monotonous, the same thing. So it's similar to what I'm doing, but now I'm going for different things, like what songs actually meant. And each day, somebody was born on that day. Mm-hmm. So it's a little lengthier, but a little less stuff, but a little more lengthy in the. But it takes a while to put together. Let me tell you, when you have biographies you're reading everywhere, they're like this, and you want it like this.
I'd like to say hi to John Freeman, who just got his show loaded on. I'm starting not this week, but next week. He'll be on midnight on Radio GTA. He got a great show from England. And of course, Kenny Tosh is with FM 108 now on a Saturday night, or Friday night, pardon me, with his revival show. So we've got a lot of fun.
Yeah, I follow that page too, his Facebook page that he has for the radio and stuff.
Yeah, he does a great job. And
busy man.
Yes, indeed. So hello to John Freeman, new on board. He'll be on Radio GTA on Saturday at midnight Eastern, which is 5 a.m. UK time. And 9 p.m. Pacific time, right?
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna do something different this time. I'm gonna start, then she's gonna go, and you get the bigger one.
I got the big one. I got the big plate.
We'll give you.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right, so we're gonna start. All right then. So this is as of February the 19th. John Hughes. Oh, sorry, these ones aren't dated this way. John Hughes decided to base his 1986 movie about teenage love on an obscure psychedelic Furs song, "Pretty in Pink." But he maybe should have listened a little more closely to the lyrics. To be fair, we always thought the song was about a girl who looked pretty in pink. Not so, says Furs singer and lyricist Richard Butler, who explained that the song was a metaphor for being naked. He goes on to explain that the girl in the song thinks that she's wanted and in demand and clever and beautiful, but people are talking about her behind her back. That was the idea of the song. And John Hughes, bless his late heart, took it completely literally and completely overrode the metaphor altogether. If Molly Ringwald pops into your head every time you hear this song, then you're as confused as John Hughes.
Well, actually, Molly Ringwald did come into my head. I thought that was
because that was the main song for that back in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Remember?
That was in the movie too.
That was a great movie too. I loved it.
Was it in the movie?
It was like the one. I think it was the main song, wasn't it? If I remember correctly, it's been a while.
All right, so what are we doing with Led Zeppelin?
My apologies. I'm used to Lee doing it, and he's gone.
Yeah.
We're missing Lee. He had to leave.
Yeah.
Okay, to follow Led Zeppelin 3, the band wanted to detach their name from the album. So with the new release, there wasn't a title or track listing. There wasn't anything that was tied to Led Zeppelin. Along with the lack of information on the record, the band chose 4 symbols that represented each of them as members, which were included on the inner jacket of the record. Needless to say, the album was a hit. Robert Plant said on the topic of the symbols, "Each of us decided to go away and choose a metaphysical type of opinion of symbol which somehow represented each of us individually, be it a state of mind, an opinion, or something we felt strongly about, or whatever. Then we were to come back together and present our symbols. The Robert Plant symbol is a feather encased within a circle, representing the feather of Ma'at. Okay. The ancient Egyptian goddess of truth, justice, harmony, and balance. The feather can also be perceived as a pen, which would check out for lyricist Robert Plant. The symbol originated from the Mu civilization, which existed 15,000 years ago on a lost continent in the Pacific Ocean. Tomorrow is about Jimmy Page's symbol.
So that's what he did for the
I
next
heard about
day.
the moose civilization.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot
Just
about
ran
it.
around in the woods all the time and they're going, moo, moo.
Here I'm getting all serious about it, going, yes, there is.
She was about to, well, I'm sure it's, I'm just.
That's my stuff, right? You're up.
Oh, you had the Fakawi tribe, of course. They used to paint their faces white, run around the jungle all the time and say, we're the Fakawi, we're the Fakawi. You know.
Be careful because there are actual tribes out there that do that.
Oh,
Just
I'm
saying.
saying. Was there really a Fakawi tribe?
Okay, who was born in 1940?
One of my favorite
I'm gonna move
singers.
on from this.
I
real quick.
think so.
Singers. Smokey Robinson was born on February 19th, 1940, and raised in the North End area of Detroit, Michigan, where so many of them came from. He celebrated his 85th birthday this year, 2024, and he was born to an African-American father and a mother of African-American and French ancestry, into a poor family. And he and Aretha Franklin lived several houses from each other. Doesn't that blow your mind? On Belmont at one stage, on Belmont Street, and said that he had known the Queen of Soul since she was about 5 years old. Smokey Robinson explained in 2012, my Uncle Claude was my favorite uncle. He was also my godfather. He and I were really, really close. He used to take me to see cowboy movies all the time when I was a little boy because I loved cowboy movies. He got a cowboy name for me, which was Smokey Joe. So from the time I was 3 years old, if people asked me what my name was, I didn't tell them my name was William. I told them my name was Smokey Joe. And that's what everyone called me until I was about 12, and then I dropped the Joe part. And I've heard the story about him giving it to me because I'm a light-skinned black man, but that's not true. Robinson met Berry Gordy, of course, when Motown first became famous. He showed Gordy the lyrics to a song he had written, and when Gordy asked if Smokey had any other songs, the young man pulled out a notebook with nearly 100 of them. And a few of the songs had potential, but Gordy liked what he saw in Robinson and signed him to his band to Motown. And now Gordy helped Robinson become a better songwriter, and sometimes they wrote together. Robinson had many hits with his band, the Miracles, but left the Miracles during the 1970s and began a solo career, and eventually in the 2000s Robinson went into the frozen food business with a line of gumbos and similar cuisine. Smokey is now in his 84th
And I messed that up because I had 85th on the top, and when I figured it out, I think it was 84th.
Yeah.
So, anyways, he's in his 80s.
He's in his 80s. He's up there.
There you go.
So Smokey Robinson, of course, just getting off the top of my head, one of my favorite Motown artists.
Oh
no
yeah,
doubt.
me too.
I mean, his voice is just incredible. You know it's Smokey when he's singing it. And ABC
Most
even wrote a
definitely.
song about him.
He had
When
such beautiful
Smokey
eyes
sings.
too.
Huh?
He had such beautiful eyes too.
Yeah, he does.
He had effervescent,
Yes.
greeny,
Yeah.
glowing.
His eyes are
right?
beautiful.
So 1982 in San Antonio for a show on his Diary of a Madman tour, Ozzy has a few dozen too many drinks, not Ozzy,
No.
and passes out in a stupor. His wife and manager Sharon clothes him in her dress and ballerina shoes to deter him from going outside. Do you actually think that's going to keep him? I don't think so.
No.
The plan failed miserably. Ozzy wanders out into the San Antonio night in his wife's clothes. He eventually feels the need to empty his bladder and selects a seemingly insignificant statue upon which to do the deed. After being accosted by police, the Prince of Darkness quickly discovers that the statue is anything but insignificant. Rather, it is the Alamo Cenotaph, a 60-foot high statue raised in 1939 to honor the Texans who died there. It is adjacent to the mission in the Alamo Plaza, and Texans do not take kindly in its defilement.
No, really?
Ozzy is banned for life from San Antonio. The story sneaks into the media and quickly morphs into the legend that Ozzy peed on the Alamo itself, which is not actually quite true. It is, in fact, very fortunate for Ozzy that it was not the Alamo mission, as an Alamo guide explains that the rock star would have been beaten within an inch of his life if it had been. Excuse me. Ozzy instantly regrets the incident. He was released on $40 bond paid by Jack Orban, the promoter of Osbourne's concert at Hemisphere that night. The concert still sees problems as fans who are unable to get into the sold-out show now decide to riot, and 24 are arrested. 10 years later, Ozzy donates $10,000 to the Daughters of the Republic of Texas, and his ban from the city is lifted. He chalks the whole thing up to the evils of intoxication.
Can you imagine being banned from the city, though? I mean, from an entire city?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he didn't mean any disrespect in any way.
No, he was drunk.
He was pissed, you know,
and he was dressed in a ballerina outfit.
I don't think he really cares, no one. It doesn't matter, but he has to take
You're
risks.
that drunk, you don't care.
Shannon, what were you thinking? That ain't stopping Ozzy. Come on.
No way.
1972.
Okay, in 1972, Sammy Davis Jr. appears on the TV show All in the Family in an episode where he famously plants a kiss on the bigoted character Archie Bunker.
Do you remember that episode?
I remember his reaction to it.
It was like, first he was like this, and then he went,
Yeah.
like, what the hell are you doing?
That was a great show.
I love that.
That show would never fly today because it's politically.
Well, it can be very racist, but it was they were doing it in a comical way, I think, and it wasn't done in a super mean way. It was just that he was a bigot, and that's all there is to it.
You know,
I loved it. I used to watch it with my grandfather, especially. Oh God, he'd hoot and holler. Mm-hmm. Anyways.
All right, you want me to do this one here?
Yep.
This is a big one. Eric Clapton.
Oh, sorry.
Has never been so syrupy sweet as in this love ballad to his futuristic wife, Pattie Boyd, also known as ex-Mrs. George Harrison, and the woman who once had Clapton on his knees in Layla. But while this tune doesn't seem to be anything but unabashed adoration, does Clapton do anything but tell his lady friend that she looks wonderful? And she is wonderful, and he loves her so very much. Boyd once claimed that just listening to this song could be torture. And what is that all about, I guess? Rumor has it that Wonderful Tonight was written when Boyd and Clapton were getting ready to attend a party hosted by friends Paul and Linda McCartney, a celebration of Buddy Holly's birthday. And Boyd was taking longer than usual to get ready, and every time she tried on a new outfit, Clapton said, "You look wonderful, can we please go now?" We eventually grew bored of waiting and picked up a guitar and wrote Wonderful Tonight on the spot as a sarcastic paean to Boyd's inability to make a decision. So that's an interesting story, isn't it?
And
but that is such a great song, though. I mean, it is syrupy, I know. But,
there's that one and the other song, not by Clapton, but Lady in Red.
Yeah.
Those two songs, no, they both remind me of an ex-boyfriend because he used to always put them on. We were getting dressed to go out, and there was a long red dress I used to wear to go out, and he'd put on Lady in Red, and this was the other one before we'd go out, and I was all dressed up to go. I was only 19, 20 years old, but I thought that was nice.
Every time you hear that song by Christopher, you think of your old boyfriend.
Pretty much.
Which is funny how songs
And this one.
do that for you, right?
And this one.
What's that?
The one Wonderful Tonight.
Oh yeah, and that one, yeah.
Because those are the two songs when we were getting ready to go out for the night. Led Zeppelin 4, Symbol for Jimmy Page. His symbol presents the most mystery out of all the band members. His symbol is known as the Zoso symbol, and many members speculate that it has a satanic meaning behind it. Fans have found the source of Page's symbol from a 1557 book, Ars Magica Artifici, by J. Cardan.
Oh, very well said.
One of the theories saw the symbol as Page placing his own twist on it. The Z represents the astrological sign of Capricorn, that's me, which is Page's sign, and then the Oso aligns with the satanic origin of 666. Truly, no one knows the meaning of Page's symbol to this day, not even Robert Plant. You may not believe this, says Plant, but Pagey once took me aside and said, look, I'm going to tell you the meaning of this just once, and then I shan't ever mention it again, or at least not for a long, long time anyway. And would you believe that I have since forgotten what it is, and now Pagey won't tell me. So there's nothing out there that actually 100% talks about it.
You never really heard about, you know, how you get the infighting with the Stones and the Beatles.
They didn't have that, I don't think.
I don't
really.
think Zeppelin ever had any infighting, did they?
And honestly, I don't think they had a lot of time. They were only together for so long before Bonham died and they disbanded. But Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, as you know, have done several
Come to think of it, I
things
don't
together.
think the Stones really had a lot of
Actually,
arguments, did they?
Robert Plant and Alison Krauss are touring again in 2024.
Not too bad, man, you know. The Stones are back on tour this summer.
It's crazy. They're still
in their
going.
80s.
Oh, you're killing me,
Jesus
woman.
Christ.
You
In their
this one?
80s.
You're killing me, woman.
All right,
Okay.
you want me to...
This is long.
You're killing me, woman.
No, I'll do this one here.
You sure? Do you want to do it? No.
You've been up since 2.
Kurt Donald Cobain.
My eyes are crossing.
One of my favorite singers, one of my favorite... And boy, when you talk about... Are you listening to me?
When you talk about, yes, I am. I can do 2 things at once. We're good.
Kurt Donald Cobain, February the 20th, 1967 was his birth date, and sadly he died in 1994. American musician. He was the lead singer and guitarist of the grunge band Nirvana, of course, which also included bassist Christ Novoselic and drummer David Grohl. What a great guy David Grohl is.
Yes. Oh,
You know,
yeah.
there was a picture of him
love
on
him
Facebook
too.
there the other day of him making food for the less fortunate.
He's amazing.
And he's just an
In many
incredible
ways.
man. I hear nothing but good things about that man. Incredible.
And he stands his ground
Yeah.
for positive things, which is nice.
And he was also a left-handed guitarist. Did you know that? Cobain
Mm-hmm.
was born in the city of Aberdeen, Washington. His parents divorced when he was 7 years old, and during his sophomore year in high school, Cobain began living with his mother in Aberdeen. In late 1986, Cobain moved into an apartment. At this time, he often traveled to Olympia to go to rock concerts. Cobain was very influential in creating what came to be known as grunge music. He was the guy that put a stamp on it, right? You gotta admit that. And Kurt Cobain started Nirvana with his friend Novoselic in 1987. They often would practice on the second floor of his mom's hair salon, Novoselic's mom's hair salon. And Nirvana's first album, Bleach, was released in 1989. They went through 5 different drummers, and finally they decided to hire David Grohl, our hero, from the band Scream in 1990. Cobain was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and bipolar disorder. He started using drugs when he was a teenager. He often used heroin, in fact. Cobain also had chronic bronchitis. He used drugs to special drug treatment hospitals several times. The last time he was admitted, he escaped to his home, and Cobain committed suicide, sadly, by shooting himself with a gun and taking an overdose of heroin in 1994. Nirvana broke up after Cobain had committed suicide. He is a member of the 27 Club of popular musicians who have died at the age of 27, often from drug abuse.
And his father and grandfather were suicidal as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it runs in the family. Not something you like to talk about running in the family. I'm going to do the next 2. I'll skip them over. I'll go back to the next one.
In
She wants the little
1969,
tidbits.
X-rated film Candy premieres in London. Actors include
Ringo, sorry.
Ringo Starr,
Typo.
Richard Burton, Walter Matthau,
Oh, I love Walter.
Yeah.
Marlon Brando, and James Coburn.
Oh, I love all
Next
those
one.
guys.
Okay, in 2003, a fire breaks out at the Great White Concert in Rhode Island, killing 100 people,
I remember
including the band's guitarist, Ty Longley. The venue is the Station nightclub in West Warwick, Rhode Island. The fire starts during the band's opening number, Desert Moon, when pyrotechnics ignite the soundproof insulation at the back of the stage entrance.
Ooh.
backstage, which then spreads to the ceiling. In the ensuing chaos, fans rush towards the main entrance. Of the 462 concert goers, 100 are killed and 230 injured from smoke inhalation. Smoke inhalation, burns, or being trampled in the crowd.
Imagine that.
Yeah. In the aftermath, Great White Tour manager Daniel Bichel is sentenced to 10 years for the involuntary manslaughter. He is paroled in 2008. The nightclub owners also received criminal sentences.
Imagine, eh?
Wow.
Something that was not even meant to be.
No.
Great White, they were quite a successful band there.
They were for a
I'll
while.
do this one now since we skip back and
Yeah,
forth.
you go ahead.
I'll do this one and we'll go from there. It was Neil Diamond's first #1 hit, and most people just assumed that Cracklin' Rosie, which was one of my dad's favorites, described in the song as a store-bought woman and a poor man's lady, was a prostitute.
I know this one.
Turns out Rosie wasn't even meant to be a person at all. Diamond revealed in a Rolling Stone interview that the song was inspired by a Native American tribe in Canada, which had more men than women. On Saturday nights when they go out, the guys all get their girl, Diamond said, but the guys who weren't able to find a girl get a bottle of Cracklin' Rosie. Instead, he said, that's their girl for the weekend. Some wineries even briefly sold their own version of Cracklin' Rosie wine, though it was never as popular as the song. Cracklin' Rosie.
Well, yeah, one of the most popular songs of all time.
I'll do this too. You can do the next one.
Yeah, of course. Zeppelin.
Of course. Led Zeppelin 4 symbol for John Paul Jones is the 3 interlocking ovals with a circle over them. The symbol is from Rudolf Koch's Book of Signs and entails Celtic and Gaelic origins for the sign. With multiple meanings behind the sign, Jones chose the meaning of the sign that represented a confident and competent individual. I still think plants is just harmony, all of the things that it represents is so much him.
Did you see that cover by Heart of Stairway to Heaven live?
Doesn't it just melt your heart?
Did you see the reaction that the Zeppelin members gave? The crying?
And there's another one.
Very emotional.
I gotta send you, there's a video too my brother sent to me a year ago that came up in my memories, and it's Stairway to Heaven done with, I forget the band, an orchestra. Yeah. And it actually, as much as I love Zeppelin, they outdid it. It was better than any version you've ever. No. You got to hear it.
That's kind of.
No, you got to hear it.
I heard the one on YouTube or the one on Facebook, right?
No, this isn't on. Well, it could have been on Facebook, but this is a
YouTube
YouTube
was a live
video.
Performance.
It was. Who was it? And the drummer was in his own little room, and the orchestra was in. Oh my God! I had shivers.
Powerful. Well,
beautiful.
It brought the Led Zeppelin members to tears in the audience.
Oh, it was amazing.
They were crying.
What they did, the talent that went into putting that together with the individual, and I can't remember the band that did it, and then the orchestra in behind. Anyways, it was beautiful.
Whose birthday is it this week? It's David Geffen's birthday. He was born in Borough Park, Brooklyn, New York, to Abraham Geffen and Batya Volovskaya. I'm sure she just looks at these names.
Batya.
I think so.
Batya.
Whatever,
she kills me.
She's
killing me.
1909 to 1988.
I'm just copying.
Batya was alive. Geffen's mother owned a clothing store in Borough Park called Chic Corsets by Geffen. And both of his parents were Jewish immigrants who met in British Mandatory Palestine and then moved to the United States. Geffen graduated from Brooklyn's New Utrecht High School, Utrecht, I guess, High School in 1960 with a barely passing 66 average. He attended the University of Texas at Austin for a semester and then Brooklyn College before again dropping out. He then moved to Los Angeles, California to find his way in the entertainment business. He attended Santa Monica College, then known as Santa Monica City College, in Santa Monica, California, but soon left. And Geffen attributed his challenges in school to dyslexia. Geffen co-founded Asylum Records in 1971 with Elliot Roberts after Geffen was unable to get Jackson Browne a record deal anywhere else. The name Asylum was chosen because of the owner's reputation for signing artists who would struggle to find a record company that would contract with them. Well, in 1977, was informed erroneously that he had cancer. And in 1980, a new medical diagnosis revealed the error in the original diagnosis, and Geffen was given a clean bill of health. Imagine being told you're going to die of cancer, and then all of a sudden you're okay again.
No, well, that's, no, thank you.
No.
Well, and the whole thing, yeah, and to say that, okay, you went through all that and you're fine.
Yeah. In 1980, he founded Geffen Records, and over the years, Geffen Records, DGC, had released recordings by many well-known artists. Geffen continued to run the label before leaving Geffen Records in 1995. He was also known to be involved in philanthropy, politics, an avid art collector, the object of several books, owners of yachts. David Geffen has been ranked the most polluting individual American and most second most polluting individual in the world, largely due to his yachts, and also the recipient of several awards and honors. Of course, Geffen was initially defensive about his sexuality. During the 1970s, he fell in love with Cher, like we all did, and spent 18 months in a relationship with her. Actually, a time he referred to as the greatest high ever had experienced. I can imagine that. Eventually, Cher left him for Greg Allman, of course, and our hero eventually came out as gay in 1992. In May 2007, Out magazine ranked Geffen first in its list of the 50 most powerful gay men and women in America. And God bless him, he's now 81 years old. And boy, I'll tell you, he's done a lot for the music business. And without him, it'd be a very boring place, wouldn't it?
And that was a long write-up, but you should have seen how much longer it was that I had to break that all out of to condense. That was just, there were so many points in that, you just had to get the main ones, that you couldn't bypass any of that. But anyways, want to go again?
Okay, in 2007, the movie studio DreamWorks takes out a full-page ad in Variety, and the Hollywood Reporter apologizing for, but not exactly admitting to, similarities between their movie Dreamgirls, adapted from the stage musical, and the book Dreamgirl, My Life as a Supreme by former Supreme Mary Wilson. The book gives a look at the behind-the-scenes manipulations at Motown Records, bearing similarities to the stories recounted in Dreamgirls.
There's a lot of backstabbing in the Supremes. If you read deeply,
There was a lot of, but you know what, Motown, when you look at the backbone or the back door and what went on in Motown, there was apparently a lot of crap going on there too.
I'm a big.
There was a lot, as much as I love, and I love Motown. Don't get me wrong.
I was a big fan of Flo, though, and I think that she got a bad rap there.
Hard to say, eh? Behind the doors, you don't know what goes on, right? That's the problem.
But I do. I mean, the Supremes were fantastic, but their early stuff was magic. Baby Love.
Oh, I love it. Oh, you kidding? My mom and I grew up in the living room with my mom with the big wooden stereo with you put the top up and there's the radio, all the buttons here and the record player here, and dancing in the front room to Motown.
You might as well do the story about the radio station too, Mandy.
Okay, 2020, WAAF, the last rock station serving Boston, goes off the air, replaced with the Christian contemporary format, K-Love. Their last song is Black Sabbath, a jab at their new owners. The song was released in 1970, the same year WAAF went on the air.
And I'm sure Boston has some rock and roll radio now, but it did for quite a time have nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. For a major city like that? Go ahead.
Okay, I am.
Go on, more Zeppelin stuff.
I got it.
Do you want to do that?
Well, it's because it's symbols, right? It's all the.
Well, why don't you do the Zeppelin stuff, and I'll do the just to keep it.
I was just gonna move my way down because they're like this, and then there's this one that goes back to you.
Oh, okay. You do. Go ahead, there,
Because
Captain.
Otherwise, you're just thought.
Go ahead.
First song on Destroyer, arguably Kiss's best album, is widely considered a party anthem and a tribute to the city of Detroit. But it's also a tragic tale of a teenage fan who learned too late that there are worse things than being late to a Kiss concert. Lead singer Paul Stanley admitted that the song wasn't all first bumping rock celebration, but was actually inspired by a real Kiss fan who died in a car crash hitting a truck in a head-on collision while speeding to make it to a show on time. I thought how odd and how striking, and the juxtaposition of someone coming to a Kiss concert which celebrates being alive to lose your life, Stanley recalled. That was the twist of the Detroit Rock City. Whether his mythical fan death actually happened has been the subject of much debate, and one devoted sleuth is still trying to identify the accident that may have inspired the song.
They're a great band. Their theatrics were amazing. I mean,
Oh,
were
God,
a
yeah.
live band that you had to see at least once in your
they're
life.
another band that did crazy things, like they donated blood for that comic book. I mean, that was
Of
crazy.
all their rock and roll songs,
Absolutely
of all their
crazy.
great rock and roll songs, and they had some incredible songs. My favorite song by Kiss is Beth. I love that song.
See, I'm tired of it. It was overplayed. That was one of those overplayed
but it was
for
one of
me.
those songs that just stuck with you. You get it stuck in your head. Great
No,
song.
I get it for sure.
Led
So
Zeppelin.
no, you're doing the next one. I told you I'm going to do these two, and you were going to go down.
Oh,
again.
okay, man.
Led Zeppelin 4's fourth and last symbol, which is for John Bonham, is according to Far Out magazine. He also looked in Coach's book of signs and landed on one that represented the Holy Trinity, Mother, Father, and Child. It was the same format as his own family at the time. Page said that Bonham was drawn to the symbol without any significant notice, but Plant would disagree. Whether or not it had personal meaning, the symbol was also the inverted Ballantine beer symbol, emphasizing Bonham's jokester and partying characteristics as well.
A lot of Led Zeppelin stories this week.
No, just because it was each symbol.
Oh.
There was the 4 days because it was each symbol.
I see, okay.
You see,
All
now
right.
we're yeah.
Anything she can do to sneak Zeppelin in there, you know what I mean?
Listen, Robert Plant and I go way back. What can I say? Listen, you thought you could. Never mind, I won't say that.
James Blunt. Birthday this week for James. Cake? Okay, maybe. Blunt was born James Hillier Blount on 22nd of February, 1974. God, I feel old. At Tedworth's Camp Military Hospital, then in Hampshire. His mum, Jane Ann Farron, nee Amos, started a ski chalet company in the French alpine resort of Meribel. While his dad, Charles Blount, was a cavalry officer in the 13th, 18th Royal Hussars, and then a helicopter pilot, becoming a colonel in the Army Air Corps. Oh, quite a family. He's the first of
I have
three
no idea
children
this
with
stuff.
2 sisters. The family has a long history of military service dating back to the 10th century arrival of their Danish ancestors in England, and like his dad, he is a pilot and gained his fixed-wing private pilot license at the age of 16. He also developed a keen interest in motorbikes around this time as well. Blunt grew up primarily in St. Mary Bourne, but moved every 2 years, according to his dad's military postings, around England, Middle Wallop, Netheravon and York in the UK, as well as Cyprus, Nicosia, and Germany, a town named Soest. And he also spent time in Clay next to the sea, where his dad owned the city, or the Clay windmill, having been sponsored through university on an armory bursary. Blunt was committed to serve a minimum of 4 years in the armed forces, where he rose to the rank of captain, and also trained for a bit in Alberta, Canada. This guy's been around, eh?
That's what I said.
During Blunt's Kosovo assignment, he had brought along his guitar strapped to the outside of his tank, and would sometimes perform for locals and troops. He stood guard at the coffin of Queen Mother Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon during her lying in state, and was part of the associated funeral procession on the 9th of April 2002. A keen skier, Blunt captured the Household Cavalry Alpine ski team in Verbier, Switzerland, becoming the Royal Armoured Corps' giant slalom champion in 2000. This guy's incredible.
Wow.
See, and this is condensed too, but as I said, there's things I had no idea either with this stuff, so I had to include it.
James had piano and violin lessons as a child, but was introduced to the electric guitar at the age of 14 and Harrow by a fellow student. While still in the Army, Blunt, would write songs during the time off and that he had. Blunt left the British Army in 2002 so that he could pursue his musical career, which he has resulted in creating 7 albums, the most recent album released in October of 2023, and also he's undertaken many other endeavors, including charity work. He is married with 2 kids. How does he time to be married with 2 kids?
I don't know.
49 years old. And so this guy, of course, we're talking about that song. What's the song? Beautiful, is it? Mm-hmm. That he recorded. Mm-hmm. And there's a little bit of swearing in that one, isn't there?
He's got a few songs that are pretty deep. If you find out the meanings of some of them, I'll tell you, it's nowhere near what you think they are. It was very interesting. Next one.
Okay. In 1992, when the Red Hot Chili Peppers perform Under the Bridge on Saturday Night Live, their guitarist, Don Frusciante, sabotages the song, playing unevenly and screaming into the microphone during his background part. His frustrations lead him to quit the band in May. When Anthony Kiedis sings, "Sometimes I feel like I don't have a partner," it takes on new meaning as Frusciante is clearly muffing the guitar part on purpose. Either that or he's highly intoxicated. The band slogs through it, and at the end, Kiedis and Flea give him a serious stink eye. Thanks to Under the Bridge, the band is getting their first taste of widespread success, but Frusciante can't handle it. In May, he abruptly quits the group in the middle of the Japanese leg of their tour, forcing them to cancel the remaining dates in that country and postpone their tour of Australia. Frusciante goes into a self-imposed exile where he gets deep into drugs. Dave Navarro replaces him in the group, but a newly sober Frusciante comes back to the fold in 1998 after Navarro departs.
I'm surprised that they wanted him back. Just being a dick. You know,
I'm surprised they took him back.
On an entire tour and screwing everybody else's life up because you're a self-centered asshole, really, basically.
Yeah.
And they took him back, so...
something wasn't working for them. And Navarro did eventually leave as well, so they probably just put him back in place, right?
Yep.
Under the Bridge is a great song, though. I still crank it every time I hear it.
So do I.
Is it me now? 2017,
We're on the last day.
Blink 182 frontman Tom DeLonge receives the UFO Researcher of the Year award at the International UFO Congress. DeLonge, who has been studying UFOs for decades, left the band in 2015 in part to concentrate on his research. In 2016, he interviewed Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta, on the topic. Emails between them surfaced in the WikiLeaks scandal, of course. We all remember that. A lot of people doubted it, and they thought it was crazy that this musician would have this kind of access, he says, in accepting the award. Then the WikiLeaks thing happened, and you guys saw that I'm into some serious shit, and I'm making really good progress. DeLonge isn't the only musician convinced the truth is out there. David Grohl has called himself a UFO fanatic and named his band Foo Fighters after a term of the spacecraft.
Let them know that.
John Lennon and Sammy Hagar are among those who claim to have seen flying saucers.
Wow.
And, well, there's definitely something going on. I mean...
I can talk about that for hours.
Look how technology changed after 1947 when Roswell turned in. Look what happened in 1948 is the transistor radio appeared. How did that happen? You know what I mean?
So many things.
Yeah.
I Will Always Love You, Dolly Parton classic made famous by Whitney Houston in the early 90s, which most thought it's about a romantic relationship coming to an end. But when Parton originally wrote it in 1973, she meant it as a farewell to her mentor and longtime singing partner, Porter Wagoner. She played it for him as a way of breaking the news that she was about to go solo and their professional relationship was over. Or, as Parton explained it years later, It's saying, just because I'm going, don't mean I won't love you. I appreciate you, and I hope you do great, and I appreciate everything you've done, but I'm out of here.
My sister's dog, Elsa, she's a little dog, and she used to sing. It used to sing whenever that song came on. She used to start, you know.
I love when that happens with animals. I think that's
But
hilarious.
it just makes it even more emotional when the dog's singing too.
Well, they
It's
must
a
have been
beautiful song.
It must have been human in a previous life. You know, that's the way it
Am I
is. They
doing
remember
the last
it.
one, or what's going on here?
So
Is it
we're almost at the end. This is the last day. So yeah.
Jethro
Couple to
Tull
go, that's it.
vocalist and flute player Ian Anderson wrote the song and called it a guilt-ridden song of confusion about how you deal with beggars and the homeless. Elaborating in the 40th anniversary reissue of the album, he said, "It's about our reaction of guilt, distaste, awkwardness, and confusion. All these things that we feel when we're confronted with the reality of homeless." And which song are they talking about?
Aqualung.
Aqualung, okay. You see someone who's clearly in desperate need of some help, whether it's a few coins or the content of your wallet, and you blank them out. The longer you live in that business-driven, commercially driven lifestyle, you can just cease to see them. In this song, Aqualung is a homeless man with poor hygiene. And Ian Anderson wrote it about a character he made up based on actual photographs of transient men. Ian's wife at the time, Jenny, was an amateur photographer and had brought some of the pictures for Ian to look at. Many of the lyrics are Ian describing the men in the pictures. And there you go.
Wow.
And that's Aqualung.
And nobody realized Aqualung because everybody took it as Aqualung being like a diver, deep sea diver, hooking up the oxygen, and away you go, and you're right, Aqualung. And it wasn't at all like
My
that.
favorite song by them is Living in the Past. So are you doing Johnny?
We'll do Johnny, and there's a couple little ones she can do, and that's it. Johnny Winter, born John Dawson Winter III, February the 23rd, 1944, son of John and Edwina. Winter was a native of Beaumont, Texas. Both Johnny and his younger brother Edgar were born with albinism. The pair began playing music before they went to school. Johnny initially tried the clarinet before switching to the ukulele and guitar while Edgar played keyboards. In 1959, the Winter brothers, already known from local talent and TV shows, cut the singles School Day Blues and You Know I Love You for the Houston label Dart Records. In 1962, Johnny formed Johnny and the Jammers with Edgar on keyboards. Winter was written up in Rolling Stone magazine alongside names such as Janis Joplin, Steve Miller, and the Sir Douglas Quintet, and was memorably described as a 130-pound cross-eyed albino with long fleecy hair playing some of the greatest fluid blues guitars you've ever heard.
The gutsiest.
Oh, or gutsiest, sorry. In 1970, Johnny joined forces with the McCoys, featuring the talented guitarist and songwriter Rick Derringer. However, shortly afterwards, Winter was floored by heroin addiction and hospitalized. At that point, heroin was the only way he could stay on the road and make it, he said later. He would not make another album until Still Alive and Well in 1973, a top 30 effort that featured Silver Train, written for him by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. The early 90s brought the bluesier Let Me In, 1991, and Hey, Where's Your Brother, in 1992, for Point Blank and Charisma, which were both Grammy nominated. Winter now suffered another period of decline under the management of Teddy Slattis, who apparently exploited his continuing drug abuse while wreaking havoc with his finances. He bounced back with I'm a Blues Man, earning another Grammy nomination. He then devoted himself to issuing the live bootleg series, collections of archival concert recordings, which reached volume 10. In 2011, he was back on his erstwhile label Sonobeat for Roots, a new disc, Step Back, featuring a host of guest guitarists, including Clapton, Brian Setzer, Joe Perry, Billy Gibbons.
Oh, really?
Was scheduled for release later this year. I always knew, even when I was a little kid, that I had more musical talent than most people, Johnny said. But I was willing to be a musician without being a star, and I still am. Because my music is more important in the end than any rewards that could come from it. He died in his hotel room July 16th, 2014, with complications from pneumonia and emphysema in Zurich, Switzerland, aged 70. It happened 2 days after his last performance there.
A great musician he was, too. We'll let you wrap her up
There you go, girl.
Okay, in 1970, Ringo Starr guests on Laugh In, making his first solo TV appearance.
You know what laughing is, do you?
Huh?
Well,
You don't know what laughing is? No, she won't know what laughing is. I was little when it came out.
It was a great comedy show.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
And it's old.
And Goldie Hawn was on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, there was all kinds of guest star appearances on
What a
that.
great show that was. That was a great show.
It was.
And go ahead with the last one there.
In 1997, during a show at the London Astoria, Tool's lead singer, Maynard James Keenan, an Army veteran and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, floors a fan who comes on stage and keeps him in a chokehold. He continues to sing Push It while detaining the fan.
And if you want a good hoot and you really want to see, it's a 12-minute video, and he sat on top of that guy and sang the whole song.
Jesus.
Oh, wow.
He got him, grabbed him in a chokehold, threw him down on the stage, climbed on top of him, and kind of moved around and did his singing till the song was over. And it was like 12 and a half minutes long, and he was on top of this guy the whole time.
Oh, nice.
What a way to teach fans. Stay off the stage unless you're invited.
All right, thanks for joining us on the Top 40 Timeline, the video, the Air Radio Music History and Trivia Show. And we're all saying goodbye.
Yep.
Saying goodbye. Let the girls
Our girls are saying goodbye,
the
too.
girls are saying goodbye, too. We have a couple of dogs here, of course, that you guys all know about, that get excited once in a while. But we're out of here, right? We're done.
We are.
And hello to John Freeman once again. Will you stop stepping on my toe? There you go. Ouch. Ouch. Assume the position.
How'd you get the last three in? What can I say?
It was a long show.
Like I said, it's we don't always have to finish it, but it's just it's so fun.
Why did he leave again? What's wrong with him?
Same shit,
man.
different day.
You know what? Just get
He's
rid of
always
it.
got something important Friday night. He knows what we do, and that you're right. It's really
I
getting to
don't.
me now.
I know we all meet once a week to do.
It's kind of it's always done on in his schedule now. That's just the way it works.
Man. No, he's not
I don't know
running
about fuck him, but I just
He's
it's
not running no
annoying
fucking
because
show
it's
here.
almost like he's entitled. I don't know.
We don't even need him. We don't even fucking need him. Why do we need him? We got Mandy here. We don't need him. What the fuck do we need him for?
I mean,
Tell him to take the week off next week.
you know what the problem is, and this
it.
is the thing with Lee, is
much
that
for
you know
him.
I get it. If any of us got to work, man, it is what it
Jesus
is.
Christ.
But every Friday there's something he has to run out of here for. Every Friday. And it's like, you know what? It's just one
It
of
gets
those
tiring
things that,
after a while.
well, because we're trying to make a go of everything, and it's not conducive to showing
He doesn't have the same
uniformity in terms
Let's
of
just say he
doing
doesn't
it
have the same
consistent,
passion that we do.
right? We need the consistency. Right. That's okay. Like I said, I won't be here on the 15th. But again, if I miss 2 or 3 in a year, but I've got a client she can't do. I've tried to work her into other dates. Oh, and